Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today in our webinars called Argentina Land of Contrast. My name is Maria Eugenia. I am in charge of the Sales and Marketing Department. My colleague Adele is with us. She will be in charge of traveling virtually around Argentina during this morning. I'm happy to see some friends who have just registered. So, well, let's start with our webinar. And also, I take the opportunity to remind you that this is our second cycle of webinars. In this opportunity, we will see the highlights and rediscover Argentina. But in the following webinars, we will be showing you Argentina and more specific destinations and places, so don't forget to register. So, well, let's start now with Adele and enjoy this great webinar. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Maria Eugenia. Welcome on this little journey through Argentina. Today's webinar will be very general to refresh some of your memories or to discover, for those who don't know, Argentina and the main destinations. So I will start with a little video of what you can see in in Argentina, sorry, and then we will start the webinar. So this was a little overview of all the countrysides and the landscapes you can see in Argentina. And now we will start the journey. So Argentina is a country located in South America on the south side of the continent. And I will start with a little introduction about who is Eurotur. Eurotur Argentina is a DMC that was born in Buenos Aires in 1954. So it is now more than 67 years we are operating in the country. We have 4 local offices, 2 in Buenos Aires, 1 in El Calafate, 1 in USHUAIA, both of them in Patagonia, and 1 in SALTA in the northwest. We are really proud of these local offices since it gives us a real insight of what is happening in each destination and the real opportunity to assist your passengers at every minute during their trip. So Argentina is a very big and wide country. We have a population of 44 million inhabitants and an area of 3 million kilometers square. To give you an idea of the few people that live in Argentina, almost half of the population lives in the Buenos Aires area. So the rest of the country is pretty wild and empty. The official language is Spanish, even though in each touristic destination people do speak English. The currency is the Argentinian pesos, and we have all kinds of climates from the jungle and the tropical forest in the northeast to the desert and highlands in the northwest. And we have fjords, glaciers, pampa, very arid and dry climates, and also very humid climates in the south. So this gives you an idea of how diverse the climate are, and you can visit Argentina during all year long, since we do have all kinds of climates and seasons during all year. So during this webinar, we will go through Argentinian culture and history, our nature and amazing landscapes, our fauna and wildlife, and last but not least, our gastronomy and famous wines. We will start with introducing Buenos Aires, as it is the capital city of Argentina. Buenos Aires is located on the banks of the Rio de la Plata, and in front of Uruguay. And to reach Buenos Aires, we have an international airport that is located 45 minutes away from downtown hotels. We receive direct flights from all of Europe, New Zealand, Australia, from all of South America, of course, and North America. For countries in Asia, Southeast Asia, you will have to do a stopover or in Dubai, or in Turkey, or in Australia, New Zealand. And we also have a local airport within downtown Buenos Aires that receives flights from all of Argentina. Buenos Aires is the capital and main city of Argentina, therefore it is a gateway to Argentina, and it is also a great introduction to the country for passengers who have never traveled to Argentina. It has a lot of touristic interests as cultural, historical, arts, gastronomy, sports, and many more. We usually recommend a 2 to 3 nights minimum stay when arriving in Buenos Aires to take the time to discover the culture before traveling to the rest of Argentina. It is a destination that you can visit all year round, facing 4 climates: autumn, summer, winter, and spring. So the main tours when visiting Buenos Aires, I remind you that for each destination, we will go over all the main tours, but we have many more, as Eurotur is a tailor-made company and we offer all kinds of alternative tours. But the idea for today is to present and represent what to do in Argentina when visiting for the first time. And in the next webinars, we will go deeper into every activity that each destination presents. So the main tours in Buenos Aires, first of all, the most important one would be the classic city tour. When visiting Buenos Aires on a city tour, you can do it on a full day if you have the time, or half day. It is possible also to choose a walking tour for those passengers who are interested in going deeper into the local culture. When doing the city tour, the first neighborhood we will visit is La Boca. La Boca were the first neighborhood where immigrants arrived and settled before then starting to settle in the rest of the city. Therefore, it is an historical neighborhood, and it is important to start with the La Boca to understand the path the immigrants made when arriving in the country. The most famous highlight in La Boca would be the Caminito that you can see on the picture. It is a very colorful street where you will find a lot of souvenir shops, tango dancers, and restaurants. Then in the La Boca neighborhood, you can also find the Boca Junior Stadium, which is a very famous theater and football team where, for example, Diego Maradona played for a while. And then we continue to the San Telmo neighborhood to arrive in the Plaza de Mayo. Plaza de Mayo is a very important place for the Argentinian. It is a historical and political place where you will also find the Casa Rosada, which is the presidential palace you can see on the picture, and the Cabildo, an important monument of the city of Buenos Aires. Plaza de Mayo is point zero of Buenos Aires, but it is also where many manifestations and riots took place during the dictator, and it is still a very important political place to express ourselves. Then this is a picture of the Casa Rosada I was telling you about, the presidential palace. And continuing the city tour, we will reach the Avenida 9 de Julio, one of the widest and longest in South America, and the obelisk. The obelisk is a very important emblem for the Porteños, Buenos Aires people, and we will have a stop for passengers to take a picture in front of the Buenos Aires sign. Then we continue to the Puerto Madero neighborhood, one of the most modern neighborhood of Buenos Aires, where you will find a lot of fancy restaurants, clubs, parrilla, which will be steakhouse, and where you will be able to have the best meals served. This is a famous Puente de la Mujer that can be removed when a boat is passing by. And we continue to the northern neighborhood. We will visit Palermo and the famous park. It would be like the Central Park, for example. Palermo is an artistic neighborhood, and then we finish in the Recoleta neighborhood, being one of the most aristocratic in Buenos Aires, and the famous Recoleta Cemetery, which is well known for having Eva Perón's grave. And after this, we take passengers back to the hotels. For passengers who want to know more about the Buenos Aires culture and the Argentinian culture, we can organize a city tour, including the Colón Theater, which is very famous for having one of the best acoustic in the world. We can also include a visit to the Ateneo bookstore. It is a former theater that was transformed into a bookstore. The Financial Times said it was one of the most beautiful ones in the world. So we recommend to have a little break, take a coffee, and wander within the bookstore. And for passengers who want to know more about the tango culture, which is very strong in Argentina, we organized city tour, Carlos Gardel thematic city tour, where you will visit where he lived, where he used to sing, the bars where they used to have orchestras with Carlos Gardel. Carlos Gardel is a very important figure of tango in Argentina and worldwide. We also have city tour with Eva Perón's thematic. Eva Perón used to be a very famous tango singer, but she was also a very important political figure for us in Argentina. This is a map of Buenos Aires with the touristic highlight I just talked about. So as you can see on the south of Buenos Aires, you will find La Boca. Then we go up to the Calle Defensa and San Telmo to reach the Casa Rosada, visit Puerto Madero, and go on to the Recoleta Cemetery. Then for passengers who are staying more than one night and one day and have a little more time, we recommend a tour to the Tigre and Delta. Tigre is a town located north of Buenos Aires, and it presents a very different way of life. Since it is on a delta, their inhabitants move around by boats that we call lancha, and you will find that porteños, Buenos Aires people, they go there on weekends or on holidays to escape the urban life and to find some green. This tour can be a half day or a full day tour. During the full day tour, passengers will also have the opportunity to have lunch on one of the private islands, for example, on a private tour, which is a very nice experience. This is a map of the Rio de la Plata, where you find Buenos Aires, and you can see the delta around the Rio Paraná. And from Buenos Aires, we also organize full-day tours to Colonia del Sacramento, which is in Uruguay. It is a full-day tour starting and ending in Buenos Aires. You take a ferry in the morning to reach Colonia del Sacramento. It is a little village, one of the oldest of Uruguay, actually, and renowned for being the World Heritage by the UNESCO. It is a very well-preserved village that was a Portuguese colony during the colonization. Then it went from Holland to France, and it came to the Uruguayan people when they took their independence. And you will find a lot of historical thematic in this place. It is a very nice way to change scenery from Buenos Aires and enjoy a day outside of town. And then at night, you come back to Buenos Aires. Then for the ones who want to discover more about the Argentinian culture, we recommend a countryside day, or Fiesta Gaucha, as we call it. Gauchos are our local cowboys, and they are very important in our culture. They live in estancias, where they either grow food and cultures, or they have horses and cattle. So during the countryside day, you will have the opportunity to discover how an estancia works, their history in the discovering of Argentina and the making of Argentinian culture, how today they adapted to the modern world. And you will enjoy a typical asado lunch, asado being the famous Argentinian barbecue with the bife de chorizo, for example, and other meat cuts. And you will have the opportunity to go on a horseback ride, sulky ride. You can do little walks on the estancias properties, and some estancias do offer gaucho shows where you will see their skills. Some estancias also offer polo matches, for example. They all have swimming pool for you to relax by, and then at night you come back to Buenos Aires. When visiting Buenos Aires, we always recommend at least one night activity, since it is a very vibrant and modern city. So you will first be recommended a dinner and tango show, which is a very famous touristic attraction, and it gives you the opportunity to discover the famous tango in Buenos Aires. So the night is divided in two parts. You will first have the dinner in the tango house. It is a three-course dinner with typical dishes from Argentina and many options for vegetarians, celiac, etc. And then after the dinner, the tango show will take place. Some tango houses also include a folkloric show with dances from the northwest of Argentina, allowing you to see more about our culture. We have all kinds of tango houses that we call tanguerias, from 3 stars to premium and luxury tango houses like Gala Tango. It's one of the most famous one. Rojo Tango is a luxurious tango house, for example. And then, other than the dinner and tango show, we recommend gastronomical experiences, as in Buenos Aires you find excellent restaurants, and it is a great way to discover the culture through the food, of course. We organized cooking classes, but also restaurant tours that we call bodegones tours, and tours of some very notable bars. This is, for example, an immersive cooking class where the participants will learn how to cook, but also learn the gestures in the Argentinian culture, how to cook the best meat, how to make an empanada. You will try the dulce de leche, which is a famous sweet from Argentina, and the mate, a famous drink in Argentina. So this was a little overview of what you can do in Buenos Aires, but as I said before, it is a capital and it has a lot to offer. We do have polo matches, horse race, we have football matches, very famous for this, but we also host the World Cup of Tango that passengers can assist. We organize milonga tours. Milonga are where the local come to dance tango, and it is always a history of passion and pride for Argentinian, and we are always very happy to share those with the tourists. We are a city of traditions and gastronomy where you will discover a lot about our culture and be very pleased to share with you again. And so please, when visiting Buenos Aires, if you have any special requests for passengers who are a bit more tailor-made, feel free to ask us and we will organize a tour according to what your passengers want to see. We will now continue the trip with one of Argentina's most important highlights, Iguazu Falls and the deep jungle. Iguazu is located on the northeast of Argentina at the border with Brazil and Paraguay. How to reach Iguazu? Iguazu has 2 airports. The national airport on the Argentinian side, where you will have daily flights from Buenos Aires, Salta, Córdoba, and Mendoza, which are all in the north of Argentina. Or you can reach it by the Brazilian side to the Foz do Iguaçu International Airports, where you have daily flights from São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, and Lima in Peru. So when you have passengers traveling to Peru or Brazil and they want to join Argentina, Iguazu is a great gateway to enter Argentina. Iguazu, as I was saying, is at the border of Argentina and Brazil. It offers a warm and tropical climate, which means you can visit it all year round, and it is well connected to Argentina and the main destinations in Brazil. The touristic highlight there is the Iguazu waterfalls, with 2 national parks declared World Heritage by the UNESCO, one in Argentina, one in Brazil. And the Iguazu waterfalls have more than 275 drops, so it is very big. And we also have a very important religious highlight, the Jesuit ruins of San Ignacio. When visiting Iguazu, we recommend a 2 nights minimum stay in order to fully enjoy the falls. The main tours in Iguazu are a full day tour to the Argentinian side of the falls. It is a 6-hour visit during which passengers will discover the 3 circuits that we have in the national park. The first one would be the Devil's Throat tour, where passengers will take a little train, reach the Devil's Throat station, and then walk on the catwalks to reach the Devil's Throat, which is the biggest drop of the park. This is a picture of someone standing up on the Devil's Throat drop. Then we have the upper trail that offers a great immersive visit of the falls. It is about 1 hour. It is without difficulty, totally flat and accessible. Passengers can walk around, and they will mainly walk above the falls. And then we have the lower trail where you will walk beneath the falls and next to them. It is a more immersive experience. And as an option to the Argentinian side of the falls, you can do the Great Adventure. It is a mix of a boat ride and a ride in the jungle in a 4x4. It is a very nice experience to see the falls in a different way, since the boat gets really close to the falls, and the most likely is that you will get wet. And we also offer a different kind of experience, which we call the full moon experience. You can enter and visit the park during the full moon nights, and it is a very different experience from visiting the falls in the day, since you will only see from the moon time. And then on the following day, we recommend to visit the IGUAZU National Park on the Brazilian side. It is a half-day tour. It takes 3 hours. The border crossing from Argentina is very easy. And when reaching the park, you arrive at the visitor center. You take a little bus that will take you to the Trilha das Cataratas, so the falls trail. And you will have 2 hours to visit the trails and see the falls. The Brazilian side is smaller than the Argentinian side, but offers a wider view. From the Brazilian side, you will be able to see all of the Argentinian side. So the two of them really complete themselves. If you have the opportunity to do both of them, we really recommend not to miss it. From the Brazilian side, there is a permanent rainbow, which makes it magical to see the falls, and you get closer to the falls. And then from the Brazilian side, you can also take a helicopter ride. It is a 10-minute experience that offers a view from the air and is quite unique. Also, from the Brazilian side, you have the option to visit the bird park, which is a sanctuary for local birds, and know more about the species in the forest and the jungle around. For passengers who want to stay a bit more in IGUAZU, we recommend a full day to the Jesuit ruins of San Ignacio. It is a full day tour, 8-hour, during which passengers will visit these remains of Jesuit colonies. Jesuits were really strong in this part of Argentina and also in Paraguay and South Brazil. So it is a very important historical aspect of our history. We will now leave IGUAZU to follow with a very important touristic destination in Argentina, El Calafate, being the most important destination in our Patagonia. It is where you will find the famous glacier Perito Moreno, but also a lot of Patagonian estancias. So as you can see on the map, El Calafate is far south in what we call the Austral Patagonia. It is at the border with Chile, and you can reach El Calafate by plane with daily flights from Buenos Aires, Ushuaia, Bariloche, and Puerto Madryn. But for people visiting South Chile, you can also join El Calafate by bus with regular buses from Puerto Natales and Torres del Paine, both of them being on the Chilean side. It is Patagonia's main destination. It is well connected to the rest of the Argentinian Patagonia and to southern Chile, and it is a 3-hour flight from Buenos Aires. The touristic highlights in El Calafate are the Glacier Perito Moreno, the Patagonian estancias, but it is also a great destination for adventure and active tours. It is a great way to El Chalten, which is our national capital of trekking, and Torres del Paine National Park, which is in Chile. being a very wide region, we recommend at least 2 to 3 nights stay in order to fully discover the region. And because it is in the south of Argentina and the South Pole, we have a really high season during our summer from October to April, and a low season from May to September. During the low season, not every activity is reachable, is doable. Some navigations and cruises, for example, some estancias are not reachable because it is snowing too much, but you can still visit the Glacier Perito Moreno. The main tours when visiting El Calafate. Of course, the star of the place is Glacier Perito Moreno. It is a full day tour. You leave El Calafate, you enter the National Park Los Glaciares, and you reach Perito Moreno after a 1-hour drive. You will have the whole day to visit the catwalks. We have 5 different circuits for the catwalks. Some of them are more accessible than others according to your age and your physical condition, but most of them are completely accessible. And during this visit, you will have the time to see the glaciers from different perspectives and listen to it, as it is a very noisy glaciers. The Perito Moreno is one of the only glaciers that goes forward in the world, and it reaches a little peninsula forming a bridge, and every 3 to 4 years, the bridge, because of the pressure of the glaciers going forward, breaks, and this attracts a lot of tourists and amateurs to see this event happen. So these are some pictures of the catwalks. As you can see, you're very close to the glacier, and you have a full time to observe it. And during this full-day tour, we also always recommend to take a little cruise. It's a 1-hour navigation called the Safari Nautico, where you will reach the south side of the Glacier Perito wall. And it gives you the opportunity to see the glacier from a different perspective from the water, where you feel even smaller than from on the catwalk. Some alternatives to visit the Glacier Perito Moreno for more adventurous passengers is the mini trekking, for example. The mini trekking is a full-day excursion where you will do the same itinerary reaching the national park, and then you will take a little boat trip to reach the glacier and have a nice trek of 1 hour. It is without difficulties, but there are some ages restriction from 10 to 65 years old only. Then for more adventurous passengers, we have the big ice excursion, where you will spend 3 hours on ice, and it is a 7-hour hike in total for the day. So the restrictions are from 18 years old to 55 years old. It is a great way to discover the glaciers differently. And we also have a very nice experience called the Moreno Kayak Experience, during which you will see the north side of the glacier, and you will be able to paddle in between icebergs, which is a very unique experience and quite impressive. For the mini trekking, big ice, and Moreno Kayak Experience, you will also have time to be on the catwalks and see the glaciers from the catwalks. So it is not necessary to do 1 day, full day Perito Moreno, and the second day one of these experience. You can do both. You can choose one of these experience, and you will have time to see the glaciers properly. Then, after visiting the glacier, we recommend a little tour to the Glaciarium Museum. It is one of the only glaciology museum in the world where you will learn more about the South Ice Field that Perito Moreno is part of. And you will learn more about the importance of glacier and the ice fields in our ecosystem. Then, after visiting the Perito Moreno, we like to combine the stay in El Calafate with a full-day cruise. This is why it is important to stay more than 2 nights usually. We have a lot of different cruises. This is a little map so you can have an idea. It's important to know what your passengers want to see so we can assess you and tell you which cruise is the best. I will today present only 2 of them. But in 2 weeks, when we will do our webinars about Austral, Patagonia, and El Calafate, we will present many more and give you the details of each one. So the most famous one would be the All Glaciers navigation. It is a full-day cruise leaving from the Punta Bandera port, and you can see it is the red itinerary. You will visit the northern branch of the Lake Argentino, see the Speccazzini Glacier and the Uppsala Glacier from far away, and come back to Punta Bandera. And then we have, for example, the Gourmet Experience, which has more or less the same itinerary, except that it will also navigate to see the Perito Moreno Glacier, and you will have lunch on board, which is quite an exclusive experience. And now I will talk about the estancias. As I said at the beginning of the El Calafate presentation, El Calafate is the homeland to the Patagonian estancias, which are quite different from what you will find in Buenos Aires or the rest of Argentina. The estancias in El Calafate usually take care of sheep, for example, and we have some historical and touristical estancia. Estancia Cristina is a very famous one, and it is a great option because you will be able to combine a navigation and a full day in an estancia. When visiting Estancia Cristina, you will take a little boat and reach the estancia, passing by the Uppsala branch and see the Uppsala Glacier from a distance. And then you will reach the estancia, where you will have 4 different options to visit it. We have the Estancia Cristina classic option, where you will arrive at the estancia, stay there, visit the historical museum, Los Perros waterfall, and stay around the estancia. Then we have the Estancia Cristina Discovery. You arrive at the estancia, visit the museum, and then you embark on a 4x4 to reach the Uppsala viewpoint, which is the only viewpoint in the area to observe the glacier from this close. It's an option that we really recommend. It is a very unique experience with great landscapes. Then we have the Estancia Cristina Trekking Fossils Canyon. It is an active option for passengers who like hiking. They will reach the Uppsala viewpoint by 4x4, and then they will come back to the Estancia by foot. It is a 14 kilometers hike, and they will pass through some Fossils Canyon, where you will learn more about the prehistoric times in Argentina. And we have the Estancia Cristina horseback riding, during which passengers will go on a trip by horse around the estancia's properties and have the greatest view over the glaciers and lake in the area. And another very famous estancia we really like at Eurotur is the Estancia Nibepoaik. It is a very traditional and historical estancia located on the other side of the national park, on the south side, offering great views over the Andes range and the mountains and lake. It usually is a half or full day trip. You can do a horseback ride once at the estancia, and it always includes a lunch or dinner asado, typical asado with lamb, and a sheep show. Then in El Calafate, for passengers who arrive early in the morning or have a late flight in the afternoon, we can also offer some half-day experiences, like the safari experience. It is a half-day tour, including a 4x4 trip on the mountains around El Calafate, where you will reach the viewpoints of the Argentino lake, and you will be able to see some of the local fauna with explanation from your guide. We also have the Nativo experience, where passengers will enter some cave and see some paintings that the first inhabitants of the region made, and you will have a dinner or lunch included in one of the caves. As mentioned before, because it is the homeland to the Patagonian estancias, we have a very strong local gastronomy, and visiting the estancias or even in the restaurants in El Calafate, don't miss the opportunity to taste the local asado patagónico, and we have some great wines to match them with. Then I'm going to present El Chalten, which is the national capital of trekking. El Chalten is a little town located in the range of the Andes, and it is reachable from El Calafate with a 3-hour drive. We have shared or private transfers and local buses. It is very famous for having the Fitzroy Summit, and it is visitable from October to April during our summer. El Chaltén is a trekking and adventure destination. It is located on the banks of the Rio de las Vueltas. And we have some different hikes with different difficulties. For example, we have the Chorrillo del Salto, which is a half-day hike, quite easy with almost no difficulty. We also have the Mirador del Cóndor hike, where you can see a lot all the valleys. And then we have the very famous Laguna de los Tres full-day hike, which is a more demanding one, and you will be able to see the Fitzroy summit from there. We have Laguna Torre hike, and many more. And we have some more exclusive experience like the Garcia Caliero full-day tour, which combines trekking, via ferrata, and ice trek. This is a unique and more exclusive experience, since we only do this with small groups, and it is located in a less known area of El Chaltén. For passengers who are not that active but still want to see amazing landscapes and don't want to lose the opportunity, we recommend a day at the Lago del Desierto. It is a lake located on the north of El Chaltén, and it offers a very unique scenery you can see the north face of the Fitzroy summit. You can have a little boat ride, and you don't have to do any hikes for this experience. So now we will leave El Calafate to present Ushuaia. Ushuaia is located in the Tierra del Fuego region, and it is famous for being the end of the world. Usually, passengers who come to El Calafate will want to also visit Ushuaia, so we do recommend to combine the both destinations. So this is where Ushuaia is located. It's at the far south of Argentina and of the world. You can reach Ushuaia by its national airport with daily flights from Buenos Aires, El Calafate, and Puerto Madryn. And you also have the Ushuaia bus terminal with regular buses from Punta Arenas, a town located in Chile. So you can combine both countries quite easily. This is a map to show you where Tierra del Fuego is located. So it is an island separated from the continent. It is important to understand this so you can understand the country, and the landscapes and the climates are very different from the rest of the continent. Ushuaia is the world's most southern city. It is the gateway to Antarctica. Many cruises leave from Ushuaia to go to Antarctica, and it is well connected to the rest of Patagonia. It is a 3 hours and 33 minutes flight from Buenos Aires, and it is a 1 hour and 30 flight from El Calafate. It is famous for having the Tierra del Fuego National Park. You will be able to see in Ushuaia a lot of wildlife with penguins and sea lion. It also has an historical prison, since it used to be a prison in the beginning of the 20th century, and it is also a winter sport resort. We usually recommend a 2 to 3 nights minimum stay, and it is a destination you can visit all year round, even though we have a high season as El Calafate during our summer from October to April, and a low season from May to September during the winter. So the main tours in Ushuaia. The first one would be a half-day tour to the Tierra del Fuego National Park. This national park is quite unique and well preserved. It is the only national park in Argentina that is located west of the mountain range, the Andes. And during this half day, you will have the opportunity to take the optional train to the end of the world. This train is a historical monument, since it used to take the prisoners that were in the prison in the city of Ushuaia to what is now the national park. Prisoners used to come there to cut some wood in order to heat the houses in Ushuaia. So during this 1 hour optional train ride, you will learn more about the history of the park, the importance of preserving this area, which is quite fragile, and more about the history of the prisoners. You will reach places that the cars can reach, so it is a great opportunity to see all the landscapes of the park. Then at the end of the train ride, the guide will pick up the passengers, and you will reach Bahia La Pataya and the Bahia Ensenada, from where you can see the other side of the Andes Range and the Chilean side of the Tierra del Fuego. and you continue the visit to visit Lago Asigami. You will visit the visitor centers and then come back to the city of Ushuaia. In the national park, we have the classical tour, but we also offer active option with hike and kayak experience on the Beagle Channel, for example. And we also have some hikes on the famous summits of the national park. Then, when visiting Ushuaia, we always recommend combining the visit to the national park to a boat trip. We have different kind of boat trips, but the Beagle Channel is a great place to explore the area. We have the very classical Beagle cruise where you will reach the Sea Lion Island and you will reach a famous Les Éclairs lighthouse. It is a 2 hour and 30 boat trip. Then you have the option with a descent where you will reach the Bridges Island, descend on them, have a little walk, learn more about the Shamana culture, Shamana being the original inhabitants of the region, and come back to Ushuaia. Then during the penguin season, we have the Beagle Channel with penguin. It is a half-day cruise where you will reach a Sea Lion Island, the Les Éclairs lighthouse, and then the Marticho Island. This cruise does not include a descent on the island. You will see the penguins from the boat. This is an example, a picture of the penguin and the boats. Then for passengers who want to know more about the Tierra del Fuego Estancias and see the penguins from closer, we have the Beagle with Estancia Haberton. It is a full-day trip. So you will take a bus, you will reach the Estancia Haberton by bus, and then from there you will take a boat back to Ushuaia. And then you have an optional excursion with little zodiacs to reach the Marticho Islands and descend and have a walk with the penguins on the island. This option only operates from October to March, since it is when the penguins are present in the region. And for passengers who stay a little longer in Ushuaia and want to know more about the local history, we recommend the Ushuaia City Tour. It includes a ride on a double-deck bus. It is a 3-hour tour, and during which you will pass through the Presidio Museum, which used to be the prison, and the Museum of the End of the World to know more about the local fauna, flora, and the cultures. And then we have some alternative options. This is an example of one of them, the lakes off-road, to discover the Tierra del Fuego island and get out of Ushuaia, during which you will visit 2 lakes, the Escondido Lake and Fagnano Lake. You will pass through the forest and have lunch on the banks of the lakes. It is a very nice option for people who want to discover more about the island itself. And Ushuaia is also destinations for active passengers with many hikes. We have the Esmeralda Lagoon hike. We have some glaciers, ice hikes, and many more options. It is also a winter resort. It has also a winter resort called the Cerro Castor. For example, this is where the French team of ski comes to train during their summer and our winter. So if you have passengers who want to have a ski experience in Argentina, Ushuaia is a great destination for it. It is also a great destination for gastronomical experience. We have what we call the Santosha. It is a king crab, and we have different tours, including an experience, a fishing experience, where you can go to a fishing village and fish your own Santosha before having a degustation, a tasting, or you can enjoy it in any of the restaurants of Ushuaia. We will now leave the south of Patagonia to go to Bariloche and the north of Patagonia. It is a destination for active passengers, but not only for passengers who also want to go to Chile and discover the region. It is known for its lakes and mountains. So it is located on the border with Chile on the north of Patagonia, and you have daily flights from Buenos Aires and El Calafate, and also regular buses from Puerto Varas located in Chile on the other side of the Andes. As I said just before, it is an easy combination with Chile, Puerto Varas and Puerto Montt. It is on the north of Patagonia, and it is a 2 hours 30 flight from Buenos Aires. It is famous for being the lake region. It is also a very famous winter sport resort, and it is an adventure destination. It is a very big region with a lot to discover, but we usually recommend at least 2 to 3 nights minimum stay. And we have 2 high seasons in Bariloche, the summer from November to March and the winter from June to August. This is a map of the region with Bariloche here, as you can see, and the little itinerary of all the tours you can do. And here you can see this is already Chile on the other side of the Andes. So I will start with the main tours, the main tour being the small circuit. When arriving to Bariloche, we usually recommend to arrive in the morning and in the afternoon take the small circuit half-day tour. During the small circuit half-day tour, you will visit the civic center, learn more about Bariloche history. Bariloche is a city that was founded by German and Swiss immigrants. They chose this place because the lakes reminded them of their homeland. And it is famous for being the Swiss of South America. And then you will continue to an ascent of the Cerro Campanario on the lifts to have a great view over the lakes and the whole region, and continue on the Xiao Xiao Peninsula, from where you can see the Xiao Xiao Hotel, which is a very famous hotel in Argentina. This is a winter picture, for example, and you will come back to Bariloche. So it is a great way to discover the region and the city of Bariloche. And if you have a full day in Bariloche, we recommend the Great Circuit tour that will take you from Bariloche to the Valle Encantado, Villa Traful, which is a little place with a very beautiful lake, and then visit Villa La Angostura, a very important place north of Bariloche. And then you will come back to Bariloche passing by this kind of landscapes. Another very famous excursion is the San Martin de los Andes by the Seven Lakes route. So as the names mention it, you will pass by 7 lakes, reaching San Martin de los Andes, offering some incredible landscapes and sceneries. And when reaching San Martin de los Andes, you will have a little time to visit the town, have lunch, and then you will come back to Bariloche. San Martin de los Andes is an important town also, and you have the Chapelco airport, and we have a winter resort in San Martin de los Andes. Then when visiting Bariloche, we recommend after visiting the area taking a navigation. We recommend 2 of them. For example, we have the navigation to Isla Victoria and the Arrayanes Forest. It is a full day tour where you will take a boat, visit Isla Victoria, learn more about the local fauna, and then you will reach the Parque Nacional Arrayanes, which is a very important place that was restored in the 50s. And another navigation would be the Puerto Blest and Los Cántaros waterfall. You will take a boat from Bariloche port and reach Puerto Blest and have this kind of landscape, and then you will reach Los Cántaros waterfall before reaching back to Bariloche. Then in Bariloche, for passengers who want to combine Argentina and Chile, this excursion, the lake crossing to Chile, is a great option. It is a full day excursion, but you can also choose to sleep in the middle of the itinerary and make it a 2 days, 1 night excursion. It is a great way to visit both countries, avoiding flying, for example. This is a map of the itinerary. So from San Carlos de Bariloche, you will reach Puerto Panuelo by bus. Puerto Panuelo is Bariloche's port, where you can take all the navigations I mentioned before. Then from Puerto Panuelo to Puerto Blest, you take a boat. From Puerto Blest to Puerto Alegre, you take a bus, then another boat to Puerto Frias. Then you reach Peusha, which is already in Chile. You pass a border. From Peusha to Petrohue, you will take another boat, and then bus to Puerto Varas, the final destination. On the itinerary, you will visit lakes, waterfalls, and volcanoes. Like this is a picture of Puerto Blest, Lake Frias, for example, and the famous Osorno volcano. Bariloche, as I mentioned before, is also a great destination for active passengers. We have many offers in this region, like rafting, hiking, for example, to the Tronador Mount, which is quite famous, Cerro Tronador hike. We have mountain bike, kayak options, and it is also a very good destination for fly fishing. And as I mentioned quickly before, it is very famous for the winter resort. This is where all Argentinian and a lot of Brazilian come to ski during our winter. We have two winter resorts in Bariloche and San Martin de los Andes, with many options for passengers who wish to discover this region during the winter. As it is to be populated by German and Swiss, they import a very important gastronomical dish, the chocolate and great beer. So when visiting Bariloche, we can always combine the tours with a beer tasting and take passengers to a chocolate factory. And of course, the famous lamb asado is also very important in Bariloche. And now we will leave the west of Patagonia to reach Puerto Madryn and the Peninsula Valdes, which is a wildlife destination. It is also located on the north of Patagonia, but on the Atlantic Ocean. It is the last destination we will see today about Patagonia. To reach Puerto Madryn, you can take a flight to the Trelew National Airport, located south of Puerto Madryn. You have direct flights from Buenos Aires, Ushuaia, and El Calafate. So it is Puerto Madryn and the Peninsula Valdes is a natural regional reserve. It has a great connection with the rest of Patagonia, and it is a 2-hour flight from Buenos Aires. It is a wildlife destination. It's also fit to be an adventure destination, and it is a cruise stopover. It is an area that is very wide with a lot of distances, so we recommend a 2 to 3 nights minimum stay, and it is a seasonal destination. Since it is a wildlife destination, it depends on the migrations of the species we want to see. So whales are present from July to December and the penguins from September to March. So if you wish to see both of whales and penguins, we recommend to coming from October to late November, and then you will have the penguins all year until March. The main tours when visiting Puerto Madryn. I will show you a map. Since the area is big, so you arrive in Trelew and then you can accommodate in Puerto Madryn. There is some accommodation in the Peninsula Valdes also for passengers who want to stay in an estancia in the Peninsula Valdes. And then from Puerto Madryn, you will have all the full day tours, the full day tour to the Punta Tombo penguin colony on the south and the full day tour to the Peninsula Valdes. I will start with the Peninsula Valdes full day tour. So during this experience, you will visit the south side or the north side of the peninsula, but you will not be able to visit south and north on the same days as it is too big. You will visit the Punta Delgada portion where you will have a sea lion colony and you will have the opportunity to get closer to them. And then on the north side, you will visit the Punta Norte and the Estancia San Lorenzo, when you can see a different kind of estancias that you have in Ushuaia, El Calafate, or Bariloche. And the Estancia San Lorenzo has the particularity to have a penguin colony on its beaches. It is a national reserve to protect it, and you will have the opportunity to do a circuit from 1 hour to 2 hours in between the penguins. Yeah. Then during the full day tour to the Peninsula Valdes, we stop by Puerto Piramides at the entrance of the reserve, where you can take an optional whale watching cruise during the whale season. We have different kind of whale cruises. You have the classical one, you have the sunset option for photography lovers, and you have the submarine whale watching for people who want to have a different experience. Then on the second day, we recommend the Punta Tombo Penguin Colony Tour. It is a full day tour that you can take either as a full day from Puerto Madryn Or if you arrive with an early flight or leave with a very late flight, we can combine this excursion with a transfer from or to the airport. The Punta Tumbo penguin colony is an important highlight of Puerto Madryn destination, as it is the biggest penguin colony of the American continent with thousands of specimens. During the full day tour, passengers will have the opportunity to walk around the penguins, observe them. They will have some important information from the guide, and they will visit the Punta Tumbo Interpretative Center to know more about the local fauna. Then in Puerto Madryn, for passengers staying a little longer who also want alternative options, we can recommend some alternative tours like the El Pedral Safari. It is a full day tour, leaving from Puerto Madryn and reaching Punta Ninfa. And in this estancia, you will enjoy a barbecue lunch, typical asado lunch, and you will visit their own private penguin colony reserve and sea lion reserve. In Puerto Madryn, we have some active options, which are quite unique, like snorkeling with sea lions, kayak with the whales and sea lions. Also, we have a full day tour called the Whale Safari, where you will be able to observe the whales in their natural habitat from the land. And we have mountain bike and hike excursions. We now leave the Patagonia, as I presented it with these 4 important destinations, El Calafate, Ushuaia, Bariloche, and Puerto Madryn being 4 main destinations in Patagonia. We have more destinations that we will talk about in the next webinars. And now we are going to another main destination of Argentina, Salta, Jujuy, located in the northwest of Argentina. It is located at the border with Chile and Bolivia. We have a local office in Salta. As it is a very big region, it is important to know it well. How to reach Salta? Salta has 2 airports, one in the city of Salta, with daily flights from Buenos Aires, IGUAZU, Córdoba, and Mendoza. So it is great to usually combine IGUAZU with Salta, as you have a direct flight. But we also have an airport in Jujuy city, located 2 hours away from Salta, with daily flights from Buenos Aires. We also have regular buses from San Pedro de Atacama on the Chilean side. San Pedro de Atacama is a famous touristic destination in Chile. What to see in Salta? So Salta is in the region that we call NOA, northwest of Argentina. It has an easy combination with Chile, the Atacama Desert, and Bolivia and the Uyuni salt flats. It also is an easy combination with Iguazu and Mendoza, and it is a 2 hours flight from Buenos Aires. Salta is a unique destination in Argentina with special history and cultures. It is one of the most preserved cultures of the rest of Argentina, with a very strong local indigenous culture. We have lots of different landscapes, from deserts to canyons, chungas, which are local jungles, and salt flats. It is an adventure and nature destination, and we also have great vineyards in the south of Salta region with high altitude wines. As it is a very wide and big region, we recommend at least a 3 to 4 nights minimum stay. It is a destination you can visit all year round. The high season would be from July to September, and you have to take into account that the rainy season is between December and March. That can complicate a little bit some of the touristic visits. Here is a map of Salta. It is important to understand how we like to offer the visit of the region. So usually passengers arrive in Salta airport or from Chile, and we recommend at least 1 night, then to visit the south part of Salta with the localities of Cachi and Cafayate, which are at the altitude of 1,600 meters. So this will give the passengers the opportunity to adapt to altitude, then come back to Salta and visit the north side of the region, which already is in the Jujuy region, with Purmamarca, TIERRA, Humahuaca, and the Salinas Grandes, which are higher in altitude. So it is important to usually start with the south side and then go on the north side, and give you the opportunity to adapt. The main tours in Salta. When arriving in Salta, we recommend a walking city tour. Salta is a very beautiful and picturesque city. It preserved very well its colonial buildings, and we call it Salta la Linda. Salta is beautiful because of its many monuments and beautiful streets. During the city tour, we will include the MAM Museum, being the Museum of High Mountain, where you will find a lot of local objects of the local cultures, and the mummies of Lulaiko, which are one of the most important discoveries of the 20th century. In Salta, you will be able to experience the local gastronomy with a different kind of empanadas, tamales, locros, which is like a ragu from there. And you will have the opportunity to go into a peña, which are restaurants where you will have the opportunity to have a dinner and a live show of local musics. Then, after the city tour and spending at least one night in Salta, we recommend a visit to the Cafayate and Calchaquis Valley, where you can do this on a full-day trip to Cafayate, for example, or a 2 to 3 days circuit traveling through the whole valleys. So when you leave Salta, you can reach Cachi, passing by the Cuesta del Obispo, a very picturesque place. You will reach the San Rafael Chapel and pass through the National Park Los Cardones with the Recta de Tintin, which is a road, a very straight road that was made by the Incas. And you reach Cachi. Cachi is a little village in the mountains. Their specialty the bell pepper, for example. There you can visit the archaeological museum. Then you can spend the night there or choose to continue to Cafayate, visit the Quebrada de las Flechas between Cafayate and Cachi. And when you reach Cafayate, you will also reach the famous altitude vineyards. The main productions in Cafayate would be the Torrentes wine, and when arriving there, you will have a visit and a wine tasting in one of the bodegas. On the following day, then you can visit the Museum of Wine and continue to Salta. From Cafayate to Salta, you will see the Quebrada de las Conchas, a very famous crack, where you will have many touristic stops as the Garganta del Diablo, for example, the amphitheater, and many others. And you come back to Salta, where you will spend the night. Then on the rest of the journey in Salta, we recommend to visit the north side, being in the Jujuy region, on either a full-day trip to the Quebrada de Humahuaca or the Salt Flats and Purmamarca, or a circuit of 2 to 3 days, including all of the touristic highlights of the north. So when you leave Salta, you will reach Purmamarca, a little village 2 to 3 hours away from Salta, where you will find the famous Seven Colors Hill. You will have a stop to visit the local market of Purmamarca and take pictures of the Seven Colors Hill. In Purmamarca, you can do a little hike in Los Colorados Canyon, and then you will continue on the Quebrada de Humahuaca and reach the Tilcara. Tilcara is a little village located in the Quebrada with the famous Pucara de Tilcara, which used to be an indigenous monument in the region. You will have time to visit it and learn more. It has the ruins of ancient houses there and the religious center. And then you will continue to Humahuaca. In Humahuaca, it is also a little village in the Quebrada. You will have time to visit the local market, have lunch, and you can take an optional extension to the Hornocle Hill, famous for its amazing landscape, as you can see on the picture. And it is said that we have 14 different colors on these hills. In the Quebrada de Humahuaca, for tailor-made passengers, we can organize a winery, wine tasting and wine visits in the Ukiya winery. It is the highest winery in the world with high altitude vineyards. And then from coming back to Purmamarca, you can take the Cuesta del Ipan, which is quite impressive to drive on it, and then reaching the Salinas Grandes Salt Flats. You will have a little visit on the Salt Flats, time to observe the local fauna, and continue to San Antonio de los Cobres, which used to be a mine village. The mine is now closed, and it is a touristic destination with a strong historic culture. And there you have a visit to the Polvorișa Viaduct, which is a mind-blowing engineering art, and you can take the train to the clouds optionally. And in Salta, in Salta and the whole region, of course, as you could see, it's quite big and wide. You have different active options for passengers who are seeking adventures, from horseback rides in the vineyards in Cafayate to horseback ride in the altitude summit of Tilcara. Llama walk in Tilcara, for example. You have some hike in the Quebrada de Cafayate, in Cachi, in the north side, of course. You can bike in all of the destinations. So as you can see, you have a wide offer. And as I mentioned before, the gastronomy in Salta is very different from the rest of Argentina, and it is typical and unique. And we recommend to have at least one gastronomical experience. We have some cooking classes with locals, for example. And it is also a wine destination, so don't miss the opportunity to visit the wineries in Cafayate and in the Quebrada de Humahuaca and taste the local wines. And we will now finish this webinar about Argentina and its main destination with Mendoza, last but not least, with its famous wine productions and high altitude tours. So Mendoza is located at the foothill of the Andes and at the foothills of the Aconcagua, one of the highest peak of America and the second highest in the world after the Everest. It is at the border with Chile, and you have Mendoza is an international airport. You can reach it with daily flights from Buenos Aires, Salta, IGUAZU, Córdoba, and from Santiago de Chile, the capital of Chile, and Lima. We also have regular buses coming from Santiago de Chile, and it is actually an option we do recommend for passengers who have the time, since it is a very scenic route. So Mendoza is very famous for being a worldwide wine region. We are ranked 8th producers of wine in the world. It is a homeland of Malbec wine. It is also a gastronomical touristic destination and an adventure destination. It offers a very easy combination with Salta and Santiago de Chile, and it is a homeland of the Aconcagua summits. It's 2 hours flight from Buenos Aires, and because it is a big region, we recommend at least 3 to 4 nights minimum stay. It is a destination you can visit all year round with no restrictions, and to take into account that the grape harvest is between February and March, during which time you will have a lot of local festivities to enjoy. The main tours in Mendoza. First of all, we recommend a city tour. It is a half-day tour, so it is great for passengers who arrive in the morning, for example, to visit the city, learn more about its importance in our history, as many battles took place there, being at the border with another country, and the importance of the migration that arrived in Mendoza. And then when visiting the region, we always recommend at least 1 or 2 wine tours. This can be half or full day experiences. Here you have a map of the wine regions. There are 3 main wine regions in Mendoza. In the south of Mendoza, we have Luján de Cuyo and Maipú, located 30 minutes away from Mendoza. And then you have the Valle de Uco, located further south at 1 hour and a half from Mendoza. All of these regions can be visited on a full day or half-day trip. But we usually recommend to do at least 2 full days, one combining Luján de Cuyo and Maipú, and one with Valle de Uco, as the wine production is quite different from one region to another. The vineyard tours always include 2 vineyards for a half-day trip and 3 for a full-day trip, with a lunch in one of the vineyards. It includes tasting in each of the vineyards. We have more than 1,500 wineries in the region, and therefore you will, according to the kind of tour you choose, you will visit 3 different bodegas that will allow you to see the different kind of production. For example, the experience Luján de Cuyo with the classic tasting. Here's a winery selection of the famous bodegas we have. And if you if you choose a premium tasting, we have other kind of bodegas with premium wines, for example. And the Piatelli winery is quite famous. And in the Maipu region, we also have a lot of olive production. So during some of the full days, we can include an olive oil factory and production where you will taste some olive oil and learn more about the process. Then in the Valle de Uco, which is a region further south, which is a bit far from Mendoza, you will have a full day trip with 3 bodegas and a lunch in one of them. Usually the bodegas in the Valle de Uco are premium and at a higher standards. For example, we also have the Catena World experience, which is a full day in the Catena Zapata vineyards, and you will have lunch in their restaurants, El Enemigo, with some premium chefs. It is a destination for the high-end gastronomy. We have a worldwide famous chef like Francilan, for example. And it is a great destination for passengers who want to discover our gastronomy differently. We organized a gourmet night, for example, where you can have a cooking class along the chefs, or you have cooking class during the day, one of the bodegas, where you learn how to make the best Argentinian dishes. And some alternative ways to visit the bodega is to participate in the harvest during the season, or we also have bike tours in the vineyards, horseback riding in the vineyards to have a different experience. Then when in Mendoza, and for passengers who want to see more than just vineyards, we have the famous high mountain tour. It is a full day tour. It is not a trekking tour, so you will visit by bus or by private vehicle the region. You will reach the ends, of course, as it is a high mountain tour. You will reach the Dique Portillos and then visit the Puente del Inca. Mendoza, this region used to be the south of the Inca Empire and the border of the Inca Empire. So it is the far end of its empire, and we have a lot of remains from the Inca. This is a natural bridge that were thought to be made by the Inca before. And you will reach the entrance of the Provincial Park Aconcagua. You will also reach the locality of Pachata. Then you have in Mendoza a lot of active options, as it is a mountain destination, and we have the Aconcagua summit, so you have a lot of things to do around there. We organized horseback rides and journeys of several days. You can participate in the Aconcagua trek and the Confluencia trek, which is reaching the first base camp of the Aconcagua trip. We have some rafting, zip lining, a lot of hiking, horseback riding options. So to finish, here is a map of Argentina that I have shown you during the whole webinar to show you that we went through the whole country during this webinar. We started in Buenos Aires, and I presented IGUAZU. We went to El Calafate, then Ushuaia, Bariloche, Puerto Madryn, and we traveled to Salta and Mendoza. So we traveled through all of Argentina. And the idea is that on the 27th of April, we will have a second webinar focusing on the Austral Patagonia. We will present El Calafate and how to combine it with El Chaltén and Torres del Paine in Chile, with some alternative options for passengers who want to see more about the region. And then on May 11th, we will do another webinar, which is called Patagonia Austral 2, to visit the Ushuaia and Tierra del Fuego region. We will include some great activities, cruise activities, and how to combine south of Chile with south of Argentina with the Antarctical cruises. And then in June, we will start the webinars about Buenos Aires. We invite you to follow us on our social media, where we post daily news about Argentina, about all products. In our YouTube channel, you will find our former webinars. We will also upload this webinar for those who missed the beginning, or if you want to share it with your colleagues. And on our Facebook and Instagram, we always upload some very nice content that will make you travel a little bit during these lockdown times. If you have any questions, please feel free. We are here to answer them. And if you want to reach us by mail, we will send you a mail tomorrow or the day after, where you will find the link to this webinar, and you can ask us all your questions and requests.
Thank you very much, all of you for joining us today, and for all the great comments that you are sharing with us. And as Adele told you, we will share all the information you requested, and we invite you again for the next webinars. We will be more than pleased to see you again.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you for participating. I hope you enjoyed it.